afternoon, everyone. So here we are doing what we call the blood groups. So what makes a certain blood group to be called blood group A, B, AB, or O? So the first thing that we need to look at is what is present on the red blood cell. So on the red blood cells, there are what we call the antigens. So what is an antigen? So an antigen is simply a foreign body that causes an immune response. So an antigen will always be binding to the red blood cell. So we also have what we call the antibodies. The antibodies, as we know, they are the ones that are responsible for the defensive mechanisms by protecting our body from certain illnesses. So the blood will contain antigens as well as antibodies. So if we are talking about blood group A, it will contain a corresponding antigen but an alternate antibody. So, for example, if we are talking about blood group A, it will have on its surface what we call the antigen, which is A. So all antigens correspond to the blood group. So the blood group A will contain antigen A. So then the antibody will be the alternate, which is antibody B. So this simply means to say, if you transfuse blood from a person from blood group B, you take it into a person with blood group A, there will be what we call an antigen-antibody reaction because they are two different. So due to that, there will be the process of agglutination. Now we have blood group B. So as I said, the antigens will always correspond to the blood group. So blood group B will have an antigen B, but the antibody will be A. Now the other blood group that we have is blood group AB. Now blood group AB, just as we said, all the antigens must correspond to AB. So it will have antigens A and B. Then the other thing that we have is no antibodies. Since this blood group AB contains the antigens of A and B, it simply means to say it should not contain any antibodies, because if it did, it could be self-agglutination, whereby there could be antibody-antigen reaction because of the presence of both A and B antigens. If we are now on what we call the blood group O. So the blood group O has got antibodies A and B, of which that means to say it has got the antibodies that fight blood group A and B, but it does not have any antigens on its red blood cell. So understanding antigen and antibodies is one of the most important things to take note when carrying out blood transfusion. So blood transfusion is simply the transfer of blood from one person to the other. So under blood transfusion, we have, if we are talking about blood group A, so a person with blood group A can only receive blood from a person with blood group A as well, and blood group O only. So a person can receive blood from blood group O. This is because O does not have any antigens. It does not have any antigens. So a person may receive from O and A. If we are talking about blood group B, a person with blood group B can receive blood from another person with blood group B and also blood group O. So we also have blood group AB. Now, since blood group AB does not have any antibodies, it is termed as the universal recipient, meaning to say it can receive from any person of a different blood group, including AB itself. So a person may receive from A, B, AB, as well as O. So this terms it as the universal recipient. Universal recipient means to say universal receiver. So we also have the blood group O. Blood group O is only known as the universal donor, meaning to say it can donate to any person of a different blood group, including O itself. but it cannot receive from any blood group except from or a person with blood group or only. So this is how the ABO system works. So as I said, just a recap, if we are talking about the antigens for a certain blood group, it will correspond to that blood group. If we have blood group B, it will have the antigens B, but the alternate will be the antibodies. Blood group B will have the antibodies A. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you will subscribe and follow for more.